We're back. Oh man, it's good to be back. Thank you all for tuning in again. This is another episode here of Black Friday where these opinions are not for sale. Uh, we got me here, of course, Christian. You got Omar, and you got Chris. Man, it's really good to be back, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a busy month. Had my birthday, kind of celebrated a few days. Maybe a little bit longer than we'd anticipated, but I was busy. Everybody was busy. It's unfortunate we couldn't get on, but we're back now. We're looking to make the most of it. And man, really grateful to be back and on.
It's good to be back. I'm looking forward to the discussions we'll have today, and also we'll be coming back this Friday as well. So make sure you tune into that. We'll be coming back, and that's going to be a good episode. Gonna have a special guest on, have some interesting conversation. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to kind of seeing what everyone's been up to this last month of our little vacay.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be back. Happy to see you guys. Happy that we could just voice our opinions again. Long vacay, but back to work.
Oh, glad to have you back, Omar. I know you've got a few life updates in the meantime since we've been on and everything. If you'd like to update everybody about what you have going on, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, as everyone probably knows, or if you don't know, I am with Students for Life of America. I am the first Southern Regional Coordinator, so I handle Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. I'm excited to join the pro-life movement full-time. It's really awesome. We had all-team week 2 weeks ago. That was a really enjoyable time getting to meet everybody instead of just all of these crazy Zoom calls. So it's great that I found camaraderie, but to all the Turning Point people that are watching right now, I still love you guys. You guys are still family to me. These two are my brothers, and they already know it. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. So I'm excited to just bring new people on into who I consider family and friends.
Man, glad that worked out for you, man. We're glad you keeping that purpose alive and well, and that you're into another organization, a great organization. People have nothing but the utmost respect for. Love those guys to death. And oh man, we're happy to and excited to see what you're going to have, going forward in the future with them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's happening down there in the South and what kind of groundbreaking things you're gonna shake up down there. So looking forward to it. Hopefully, big changes come. I know we're all rooting for your new organization and rooting for you as well.
Yeah, especially this fall, watch out because this fall is going to be really, really important. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that.
Man.
Most definitely.
Man. So, man, starting off in the first place, I've had the privilege to get to know this individual very, very well. And now he's officially thrown his hat in the ring for the governor of California. It's Larry Elder. He's officially joined the recall efforts. And it was kind of a shaky and rocky start because he had announced that he was joining, and everybody was energized. I know I was beyond elated. My family, friends all in California were just nothing short of just ecstatic. But then short after he was told that he had filed too soon and that he would not be put on the ballot for the initial recall vote. And that kind of put a stop to his campaign. Well, he went to court and sued, and the judge agreed rightfully that he had the right to be on the ballot. He did everything right and within the right period of time. Larry Elder will be on the ballot in this upcoming recall, and I'm ecstatic for it. If I was still in California, I'd be voting for him wholeheartedly. Those of you that are still in California watching, you know what to do. This is my full endorsement right away. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm on the board. I'm fully on board.
No, I love Larry Elder. I really am excited to see what comes of this election. I'm not sure what I think is going to happen. I mean, it's California, in what direction will it go? I can't necessarily say. I know a lot of people are really upset with the current administration in California and how they're running things. So maybe change, is coming. And I'm hoping Larry Elder is that change. I am a big fan, and I'm just really looking forward to it, hoping. And Christian, like you said, if you're out there in California, vote for Larry Elder because I think he's gonna really shake things up. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
Yeah, I know Larry Elder is a great guy. He's been a great guy for the community for a long period of time. So I never got a chance to actually meet him in person, but I've only heard great things about him. I listen to him on the radio sometimes. He's gonna do great things for the state of California if the state of California is smart enough to actually vote him in. Sorry, California Republicans, but
We're about
y'all need to get it together.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying,
absolutely.
get it together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the main issue here that we've seen in years past, from different congressional campaigns to statewide campaigns for governor. The California GOP can't get their act together. In fact, the whole GOP can't get their act together, as we've seen. This election does not matter unless we have election integrity and we know who's on the voting rolls and who's going to vote in this election. What does any of this matter unless we actually know who's going to take part in this election? If they're feeding ballots or whatever else is going to happen, none of this matters unless it's secured. Another thing is, unless the California GOP does the right thing and backs the right candidate and puts their efforts and resources into Larry, or a viable candidate here, none of this matters again. Again, if it doesn't have the GOP backing, it's a wash. And unless the GOP goes ahead and takes care of what they need to be doing in the state of California and all across the country, none of this election doesn't matter. None of these future elections will matter. And so that's what I'm really, really worried about right now. That's my top concern in regards to elections and everything right now. Not even the candidates. It's about the process and making sure that everything's safe and secure.
No, I agree, and I think that there are a lot of Republicans all across the country right now who are saying that the GOP and Republicans need to move off of the issue of election integrity because it's a one issue. We need to move on and go to other issues. But honestly, this is the issue that kind of trumps them all right now, because we'll never be able to get anything done if we do not get a secure and safe election. Right now, you can see Joe Biden just lied last week about the bill in Texas that all those Democrats ran away from, saying how it is, whatever he's calling it, Jim Crow 3.0. I mean, it seems like every week there's a new Jim Crow, and it's getting to the point that it is blatant lies. I mean, Texas's bill that they're trying to pass is less restrictive than Delaware, which is where Joe Biden is from. Delaware has and it's a blue state, has a more restrictive voting restrictions than Texas, and Joe Biden has an issue with it because it's a Republican-led state. And I think that this is what we really need to see from all red states, and even blue states. The Republicans in those blue states need to really be pushing this, because we will not see a victory in a federal election like for president until we get that. We will continue to lose, and that's something that none of us want to see.
You know what? I want to ask something. Why aren't the Democrats for this? What was it, 4 or 5 years ago? They were gung-ho about election integrity when Hillary Clinton lost. So why aren't they doing it now? I get what the simple answer is that they won, quote unquote. But everybody should be for election integrity. Everybody should want to make sure that it was done right, that everybody abided by the process. Nobody voted twice. Nobody that is illegal voted. Everyone should want that. Everyone should want their vote to count. And the only way
Omar,
it matters. But no matter who wins, huh?
You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Am I? Please forgive me. My Wi-Fi wants to mess up, and it is storming.
I think we got the majority of your point, but to kind of answer that question, the reason is because Republicans are not shipping in voters by tens of thousands, where Democrats are. I mean, there is nowhere on earth that we could be shipping voters in and get them in and have them always be voting a red down ticket, where they just have to open up borders to promise Social Security, promise welfare and other social programs to them once they come, and promise them an easy path to citizenship, and of course they're going to vote for them. You're promising them free stuff, and that's it's just making us more of a welfare state. It's making us more of a less stable country. We really need, like, these are processes: safe and secure elections, safe and secure borders. I mean, Democrats are playing 4D chess with this. Actually, they're more like just topping over the chessboard at this point. They're not playing by the rules. They're making up the rules as they go, and they are going to beat us if we do not start kind of going in that same direction. And this is something that I want to ask you guys. A lot of people are saying that Republicans come to the game to play the game and play the rules. Democrats don't do that anymore. When are we going to kind of ask the question, is it time for Republicans to start breaking the rules? And I'm not advocating for it, but I mean, when are we going to shake things up? When are we going to, actually make a difference on the right, where the left, they're continuing to change everything. They don't care about the rules. They are going to get it done no matter what, for their side at least. So what do you guys think? Should people on the right, should we start really shaking things up and throwing a wrench in it?
No.
Staying principled and just taking every day has got us nowhere. So if we're going to keep doing the same thing, we should expect the same thing to keep happening to us. And that's what I have to say about that. In regards to what the course of action is going to be, it better not be what we're doing right now, because it's not a winning strategy. I don't like it at all.
I'm going to have to partially disagree. What I think we should do, we need to invest in media. Who controls the media? Whoever controls the narrative is going to control people's minds or people's perspective.
It's culture.
Who's been controlling all of that? The Democrats or the liberals? Until we figure out, okay, we need to own more than Fox News. Either we build up OANN, whatever it's called, or Newsmax, or either we're going to build those up, or you know what I think? I think people like Trump and other folks need to buy CNN out and buy MSNBC out. Just buy them out and start controlling the narrative. Once we control the narrative, it's game over.
I mean, that'd be great too. I think we need to break up big tech. It's long past due. That's one thing libertarians are like. It's got to break up big tech. It's the biggest monopoly. It's a great threat to Americans right now. I 100% believe it. When you have arms of the CCP and Cuba over here spouting whatever the heck they want, nonsense to the American people, total BS and nonsense, and they're arming up together to shut other people down. No, I'm not a fan, not supporting whatsoever. Another thing too is that when the left and they wield power, they crunch us and they beat us down every single time. When we wield power, we say, well, this time maybe we shouldn't, and we do nothing. We had the House for 2016 to 2018. We did nothing with it. We didn't pass anything that meaningful. We got a Supreme Court justice, great, okay. But everything else, we couldn't barely get through, the tax cuts, everything else. We have the power. It's time to go ahead and use it and get on the offense. Republicans on the right play on the defense every single time. We're always countering. We're always ducking punches rather than punching out in the offensive. We never do. We never take an offensive stance ever. We're always battling back. And, well, that's not, we're principled. We shouldn't. Time to punch back and get after it. We're going to get left in the dust. Well, there's going to be no movement. There's going to be nothing left if we don't do anything very soon. I'm out. If we keep doing the same thing, I'm out. I'm gone. Don't call me conservative. Don't call me Republican. Don't call me any of that. I'm out. I don't want to be any part of it.
Welcome to the Libertarian Party.
Those are losers too. I don't want to be a loser. Period. All losers. They're all losers. I don't want to be a loser.
What are you going to be then? Christian and anarchist?
What? No, not at all. But I'm not taking those labels.
But that's the thing. That's the thing.
Because I define myself as is not that. That's what a bunch of losers want to be. I'm not that.
That's a reason that I may vote Republican down ticket, but I can't consider myself a Republican, and I never have. Especially because the GOP is weak and spineless, and Trump was the only one who ever stood up for himself. The GOP, I mean, there are very few members who ever stand up, and even some of the more principled and more in their stuck in their ways kind of Republicans, even they bow down sometimes. And they like Ted Cruz. I mean, Ted Cruz he started off soft and mushy and then kind of came and got more of a spine. And then even still now, he apologizes for things and he goes back on and flip-flops a little bit. And there's not very many Republicans that stand in there as firm as Trump did. And that's what we really need. I'm not saying we need Trump back. I'm saying we need Republicans where they're going to stand firm and fight back. And they're not afraid to call somebody on the left, a fat pig, because they're calling everybody on the right racists and Nazis. We have to fight back sometimes.
Or coons.
Or coons or whatever you want to, Uncle Tom's. I mean, we've all been called it. We've all been called it multiple times, I'm sure. It's time for what's going to happen when somebody comes up to us and calls us a coon or an Uncle Tom? What happens if I call him a cracker? What happens if I call him, whatever? Like, I'm going to be the one who's actually a racist. Or if I called them a slur of the same degree, I'd be considered the racist because I happen to be on the right. And that's, again, like Omar, you're saying, controlling the narrative. Chris, you said controlling the culture. It both stems from that. And the status quo is not on our side. And that's something that we really need to kind of work to win back.
Standing by as big tech erases us is not a winning strategy, y'all. I don't know what it is, but that's not it. I can tell you a list of losing strategies. That's one of them. Sit back and just wait until we're all gone. Because you don't think they're coming for you. They're coming for everybody. Nobody is exempt. You will all be gone before it is said and done. PayPal right now is going in there and cutting contracts and deleting, getting people off, people that they believe to be extremists. They're teaming up with the ADL. Free market, guys. It's a free market. It's a free market. No, it's not. And anybody that defends it in that sense, you lost me. I'm out. I'm gone because I don't defend that whatsoever. It's total nonsense. What did Joe Biden say? Malarkey? Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely not. So we're all about to be erased. We're going to get kicked off of every major platform. We won't be able to use currency off of any of these major companies because my principles, and it's a free market, and they can do what they want as a private company. At some point, people have to say enough is enough.
Well, then, as somebody with, libertarian values, I'm curious, how would you talk to somebody who's more libertarian and say how can you justify saying that because technically it is the free market. How would you combat somebody saying it is the free market? How would you kind of rationalize that?
You know how we fix that problem? Then we need to start our own stuff. Okay. They want to bring up the argument. Well, it's a free market. Don't you all believe in the free market? You know what? We need to come up and say, yeah, we believe in the free market. We're about to compete with you now, and let's see who wins.
Twitter. Parler cannot compete with Twitter, Omar. I'm sorry, but it won't happen. It won't work.
Because nobody will build it up.
Who's not building it up? There's no competition there. It's not a competition.
Nobody's building it up. There. If we all pull off of Twitter and go on the Parler, what happens? They lose half their business.
It will not be enough. It's a global market. There will not be enough.
Yeah, even if every conservative, even every 70 million people who voted for Trump pulled off Twitter, it still would. I mean, what is it? 1 billion downloads for Twitter? That's not even a tenth of the people on Twitter. It's just like you said, global market, and I mean. It is the free market at the same time. Them saying
it's not when the government's colluding to mark stuff as extremist content.
Well, that is not.
That part is
not. But them free market where they are alone discriminating. Yes, that is technically free market. But when it's the government colluding with companies to target the minority and the government parties, like in this instance, Republicans are the minority. And they're targeting them in their time of power. Yes, that is not free market. That is authoritarian dystopia. That is not what we want. And yes, California will cheat. Republicans aren't cowards. I agree with that.
California will cheat. I agree with that.
They definitely always seem to find a way to get what they want at the end of the day. But it's just not. It's not good. Here's the thing. I'm all about the free market until Americans get screwed over. I'm all about it until then. Not just capitalism is not always the answer no matter what. The free market is not always the answer no matter what. When people get hurt and people's livelihoods are destroyed, I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry. I do draw a line at some point. It's not always. It's
That
just
sounds like
unmeasurable good. It's not just the unmeasurable good. It's not. It's not just the immeasurable good. It can
Yeah, I
be
mean,
used for bad things.
capitalism isn't great in every situation. I can definitely admit that. But I just think it's the best system out of things rather than having the government step in and act. But I do see your point, and there are instances where, yeah, it would be better to have the government step in rather than, you know, let it run its course. But those instances are few and far between, in my opinion. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And you know, I think the main issue here is GOP, people in the GOP, politicians right now in the GOP are just spineless. They're cowards at almost every level. They don't stand up for themselves. They don't take the risk. And I think one reason is because they don't have the culture and the media behind them. If they say something out of line, that could potentially ruin their namesake for the rest of their lives. They are going to be either a racist, a bigot. They're going to be whatever you want to call them. And that is where it's dangerous for them. And I'm not saying, like, look, honestly, like, go out, blaze of glory. I'm not saying call people slurs, but say something, like, say it from your chest and have actual meaning behind it instead of always being on the defense. Being on the defense is how we've gotten to this point. We lost probably the most popular Republican president amongst minorities in the last 50 years. We lost him because of this nonsense, and now we're backing down at every instance. I mean, Trump just now, well, it was either today or yesterday, said that Senate Republicans are spineless for working with Biden on the infrastructure bill that they're working on, the $1 trillion infrastructure bill. And he said, wait till the midterms, wait till we win back the Senate. And you know, I somewhat agree with that.
He says, wait until we get it. And I love the man to death. I love everything. Sure, wait till we get it. And then what we're going to do when we get it again. What do we do?
That's the thing. We're spineless. Because we're spineless. We don't do anything.
And wait for him to do something and say, oh, no.
And that's the thing. We need to stop taking the status quo Republican just because they have an R next to their name and voting them in. They're garbage. Stop sending them to Washington. If they've been in office for more than 20 years, I guarantee you they're complacent, they're swamp, and they're trash. Get them out. We need young, fresh faces in here, or else we're not going to have like a good time in Washington. The conservative movement, the right-leaning movement, it will not. It's going to die. We're being hunted down literally now.
Yeah,
guys, it's going to have an end very, very badly.
Guys, two things. One, Chris, you threw out there that Trump was the most popular among minorities in the past 50 years. It's actually almost the past 100.
There you go.
Herbert Hoover was the last person to get a majority or anything close to a majority of blacks and other minorities, and that was in 1928.
There you go.
That's a fun fact. Also, you know, you guys are right in that instance, but here's an interesting theory I've been reading up on. Okay, do y'all know that the Speaker of the House does not have to be a member of the House? You don't have to be elected, but you can be Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
So apparently there might be a play, and of course Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader, has to agree to this because he would be next in line. But there is a play to. If everyone can corral together, if Republicans win the House and everyone corrals to this, Trump could be the next Speaker of the House.
Very well could be. They would never do it in a million years.
Kevin McCarthy is as soft as the Pillsbury Doughboy. He is not. You poke his belly. Oh, like he is never going to do that. This man is too afraid. He's afraid of his own shadow at this point. We need stronger Republicans. Stop voting these cowards in. Like I don't understand these status quo Republicans. I don't understand why people continue to vote them in. They don't do anything.
But you know, a few years ago,
I need that meme ASAP right now. Bro. That would make me laugh hard. Oh, maybe
but you guys remember under the Obama administration for the last 2 years when they switched speakers, when Boehner stepped down and left Congress, Kevin McCarthy was supposed to be the next speaker. But the House Freedom Caucus said, we're not going to vote you in because you're spineless. And he backed off, and that's how we got Paul Ryan.
That was so much better, as we have seen. So much better. Oh man, no,
Now he's a
it's a mess
lobbyist.
in itself. What a mess! What an absolute mess. Something that just came through here, especially in the Florida, South Florida, Miami areas. SOS Cuba. If y'all haven't been following and paying attention, the Cuban government has unleashed hellfire on its own people, beating them up in the streets, shooting them merciless at range, and just overall taking people into custody and locking them away in prison with no ifs, ands, or buts. The reason why you might not be hearing about this is the fact that they've shut the internet off in Cuba and they haven't been able to transmit and show anybody anything that's been going on the last week or so. It's really, really hard to get video out there and to get it back over here. So we're getting limited clips and short videos. Just recently, they had Governor Ron DeSantis sit down at Versailles, one of my favorite Cuban restaurants out here in Miami. If y'all haven't been yet, check out Versailles. It's a great place. He weighed in on his thoughts on the administration's handling of the situation and what he really thinks. And if the people of Cuba really just want free vaccinations, if that's the reason why they're rebelling right now, is because they need vaccinations. So we're going to find out.
And I'm Trina Robinson. No shortage of impassioned ideas on resistance and repression.
NBC6 reporter Jamie Garola is live in Little Havana with more. Jamie?
Jackie and Trina, 8th Street just a few minutes ago was packed with people inside and outside Versailles. The crowd wanting to hear from the governor, the lieutenant governor, Senator Marco Rubio, as well as Representative Maria Salazar, all about where the Biden administration, what the Biden administration should do, and where they stand on Cuba. On Fox News tonight, Governor Ron DeSantis talked Cuba, the regime, and the Cuban people.
From day one, the people of Cuba have been protesting and demonstrating against the communist dictatorship in Havana. It's not because of vaccines. It's not because of these side issues. They want a new government. They want a free Cuba. And it's, I think, incumbent upon us in the United States to be supportive of those efforts.
DeSantis answering questions about the current uprising during a town hall at Versailles restaurant with Sean Hannity.
So I've called on Joe Biden. The communist regime has shut down internet. Let's work to beam internet onto the island of Cuba so these folks have a fighting chance to converse with one another, to send what's going on to the outside world.
Senator Marco Rubio also addressed the crisis, and newly elected Congresswoman Maria Salazar expressing frustration with the response of the Biden administration.
There is no U.S. embargo against the Cuban people. If a Cuban tonight wants to open up a Versailles in Cuba, they can, and we can sell them stuff. The only embargo is on the Cuban regime because they own everything.
The most urgent thing we need to do is to get them Wi-Fi, internet. Somehow, we're not asking for the best quality. We just want to make sure that the Cuban.
So that's a glimpse of what's been going on here the past couple weeks before we left for the Student Action Summit. This has just been going on, Chris, and I don't know if you guys have seen, but they've been shutting down freeways, highways, occupying streets, and everything, going full out. And the lack of response from the Biden administration, I guess, has been pretty deafening, and the people aren't having it. In fact, today they marched on the Capitol. News media tried to talk to them, a bunch of lefties. The people weren't having it, and they shoot them out and weren't having any of it. The people want something to happen, and I'm sure many other people around here want it as well. But my biggest question, y'all, is what do you think the solution is here? Because I'm not even sure myself what the solution is here in regards to what's happening to the Cuban people out in Cuba.
They were marching on the Capitol in Florida or
DC. They marched in DC. They marched.
Okay. So, first of all, despicable, absolutely despicable what's going on in Cuba. Freedom's my number one thing, and I think that is one thing that I would 100% fight to the death for. And when people try and take away your freedom, that is something that you have to fight for, no matter what. And honestly, I have so much respect for all the people in Cuba right now who are going through this struggle and putting their lives on the line. They continue the fight. I know they can't hear my voice because they cut off all the internet, but I hope that they continue the fight, and they know that there are millions of Americans who are standing up with them, who wish we could be there to assist them and help them or give them some sort of aid. But unfortunately, our government is spineless and weak, and actually they're complicit in this. They want Cuba to remain in a dictatorship. But I honestly, the solution to this, If we didn't have a Biden presidency, I honestly could imagine Trump sending in the troops. I could imagine it. I really could. I think that's something that Trump could be probably convinced to do. But with Biden, the solution, honestly, I don't think there is one. I don't think that we can really get involved in it unless, Florida took some sort of a stance. But I don't know what the legal method is there. I mean, if Florida could, and I don't believe they could because that's international and that would be the federal government, but Ron, break the rules. Go send in the troops.
Well, of course, like everybody said, it's terrible what's happening in Cuba, but it's also a good thing in that the people are rising up. The people want a new government. The people are tired of being oppressed by tyrannical figures and crazy folks. Fidel Castro was a crazy man. Everyone knows this. So I do want to point out Black Lives Matter did post something on Twitter saying rest in power, Fidel Castro. So if you think Black Lives Matter, the organization is for you, they are not, because this man has terrorized his people for 50, 60 years. What'd you say, Chris?
They recently just said, I believe that they stand with the Cuban government. I believe in last week or so. They tweeted that one out, I believe.
I'll check.
Exactly. They stand with the Cuban government that's terrorizing their folks, yet they want to call out quote unquote people that are being terrorized out here in America. You know what? They can miss me with that. You know what? Anyway, what I think the Biden administration should do is get off their lazy behinds. First off, I'll say peace is very delicate. And coming from someone who was trained under an international relations major, peace is very delicate. And before you bring the troops out to go die, potentially, try to handle it in a diplomatic solution. Try removing them diplomatically. But if push comes to shove, I say liberate the Cuban people. That's what Biden should do. Try to do this diplomatically, then go at it gung-ho. But we all know he's not going to do it. We all know he doesn't care about freedom. We all know BLM supported his campaign. So technically communists and Marxists supported his campaign and gave money to his campaign. So we know we're not going to get anything from it. Maybe Ron DeSantis should call in the National Guard. I don't know, but I do know the rules of diplomacy and for international peace starts out with sending a diplomat over there to get them out of power. But is that going to work now?
What Black Lives Matter had tweeted was basically they said that they stand with they said Afro-Cuban family as they call for change. They had to throw that black up in there. And then they also say that they are for, the liberation of all Black people everywhere, including Cuba. And they are calling to the end of the U.S. embargo, which has been echoed for 39 years. So they're basically putting the blame on the United States, of course.
That's the lamest, laziest argument out there.
It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out.
The biggest cop-out out there.
How are you going to...
Why? It's crap. It's absolute crap. Crap has no
sense. Marco Rubio just said, if a private citizen wanted to buy things from the United States, they are more than welcome. It is the oppressive and evil dictatorship which cannot, and they just happen to own everything. So it is not that we are embargoing the people of Cuba. We aren't going to sell things to an oppressive and evil government, which we do to some.
Yeah, exactly. How would you feel if we sold ammunition to the Cuban government right now? We should end the embargo. Oh, let's just send all raw materials and goods there. Then, no, it sounds bad.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, I think that we really need to be steadfast and stop. And we can't enable these kinds of oppressive governments. And, we do in some places in the world, we do enable them, some oppressive governments, but this is one where we are doing well and we don't enable them. I think, honestly, at this point, there are people who are willing to go to Cuba. I mean, I'm sure, Christian, you live in Florida. I mean, all the Cubans in Florida, I'm sure that the tensions there are high and they are wanting to go and fight. And I've seen the videos of people going in the boats. I think that there were like 11 people missing like last week. Like they went out on the boats and never came back.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll look into that. You guys can keep talking. I'll look into that. I'm pretty sure like 11 people went missing, and just never came back. And I know that there were people trying to run guns to Cuba as well. Not sure if you guys had heard about that, but
a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. Yeah, sure. My biggest question here is what should be our response, if any at all, and what should we do? I think the bare minimum, we should be able to get them internet. I don't think that it violates a non-interventionist standpoint or talking point by any means, that people should have the ability to go exchange information with each other and be able to communicate. I think that's fundamental right now to all things. Boots on the ground and troops on the ground. That's a big one. I'm not sure I can even support it. I feel bad at this point about it. I don't know, because what's going to come from that is a regime change again. The U.S. government into a regime change in Cuba. Like, is that going to be good? Is that in our best interest? What does that mean for the people? How are they better off, et cetera, et cetera? And then if we don't do anything, these people will be slaughtered. They will not make it. And that's just a fact. They won't make it.
I mean, I've seen some despicable images. I saw, a dead child the other day, a picture of a dead child who was shot in the face. And as a father, I mean, it breaks my heart. Honestly, it really breaks my heart. And I really feel for the Cuban people. And I wish that there was more that I could do. And the fact that Joe Biden, oh my God, I wish I could cuss. The fact that Joe Biden is not willing to do anything for this, it makes me want to spit in his face. He's more of a coward, and he is despicable. I'm disappointed in the United States because we are not willing to assist in the fight for freedom. Because if we're going to do anything, we've been in the Middle East for longer than I've been alive. If we're going to do anything, we might as well be assisting in the actual fight for freedom, not in phony wars in the Middle East. That's my opinion on it. Fight me. We need to really be helping these Cuban people out. It's just heartbreaking.
Like I said, send a diplomat. Send
some guns.
We're past that. We're past that, man. We're past diplomacy. We're past send a mental
but you got to do it the right way.
We need to send a helicopter, put the communists all in it, and start dropping them from the helicopter, because it's getting to that point. Communists, I'm sorry, you're despicable. You have no, you are giving up. You just give up your right to life. You are taking away people's freedoms. You don't have a right to life anymore. You take away people's freedoms. You deserve to die. I'm just going to say that.
It's bad. It's those people have been through all this for so long and have had finally enough, and they're out there on their own, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel bad about it. And I also see people out here in Miami, they're putting up that energy I've never seen before. And I feel bad for saying it. I'm going to say it too, is where was this energy through the whole election cycle or through when anything bad happens here in America? I want those people. That energy is great and it's needed. We need to keep that same energy here, because rights and liberties are very well on their way to being stripped out here in America. And if we don't behave in that same exact way, man, it's going to be bad. It's bad news for everybody. So I that's really how I'm feeling about that.
Well, Christian, it was there. It was there for the election in Florida. It was there. Trump won Florida.
No. When they shut down these businesses and they put these mask mandates out and everything, these people in Miami, they originally were going to hold a big protest. They're going to stage the whole thing, and they weren't going to take it anymore. And then right before the protest starts, hey, could you put a mask on? Could you put a mask on outside? When we go out here and everybody bailed. They bent the knee. They took the L. These people weren't standing up and all that back then, when it really, really mattered out here, when people's livelihoods and business were being destroyed. People died from suicide from this too. And don't act like there weren't any casualties here. People died and lost everything. And these people were going to go take a stand, and they bent the knee, and now they're going out acting hard in the street. Okay. I'm not saying they all did that, but there are some of the same people that are doing the same thing. And my only response is just keep the same energy. I respect the fight now, and I respected the fight back then, but you got to keep the same energy with both of them. And that's what my main takeaway here is, that what happens here affects the rest of the world. And if we're not willing to fight for it here, then what the heck does it matter anymore? It doesn't.
Well, you're living in Florida. I have a question that after this Cuba nonsense and, what's going on, and you have a lot of people riled up, and, hopefully this energy persists until, the next election. How do you see that affecting Florida in this next election? I mean, you had in 2020, Trump won Florida by 4 points, I think. And that's a pretty decent margin from, where Florida has been in the past. So do you think that gap is going to widen and the Republicans are going to win even more?
I talked to Dan Bongino while I was taking him back to the airport in his car and everything from SAS, and he said, the Dems keep this up, they will never win the state of Florida again. His words exactly. He said it that way.
Is he from Florida? I don't know.
He lives here now. He does live here now. But now he lives here now and everything. He said, the Dems keep this up. These people will not have it. They won't take it. These people aren't just totally stupid. The Dems will never win Florida ever again. They'll never have a shot. So the ball's in their court here to do something. They're literally they're going to lose everything here if they don't do something soon. So, time will tell. That's how that's looking right now. And I definitely see it. The people here don't play that. If that turns Miami-Dade County red, it's over. The elections are over. If Miami-Dade goes red, the elections don't matter anymore. The Panhandle goes red, the side of the coast and all that goes red. Broward goes blue. Okay, cool. Who cares? Miami-Dade goes red. It's over. The biggest county in the country. It's population. It's over. So it very well could happen, man. This could be the end of all of it.
I can see that. Florida will always have its blue spots and a few blue reps. I mean, that's not going to change. But the state trending red, I can say the same thing about Ohio. I don't think Democrats are going to win in Ohio again for a very long time. Losing those critical swing states are going to be crucial for either side, and it's gonna push the narrative into different states and things like that. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. We need to hold on to our own and then expand. Because yes, now we got Florida, now we got Ohio. We're losing Georgia and we're losing Arizona. Even though funny stuff went on, we're still losing those states. I can see the tide flipping. So we just need to push the narrative and push our message in states we traditionally win, plus these new states like Florida and Ohio, keeping them in the column.
Those states, again, election integrity is everything. If they don't secure it, those states, it's over. And
they did in Georgia.
They're not securing it in Michigan. Trust me, it's just gonna happen.
But your governor just lost her powers.
Yeah, she did. The state house has voted, and they voted, and she lost to the Supreme Court back in October, I think. And they said you can no longer keep up these executive orders. You had 45 days. It's been 7 months, and she was like, "No, I'm going to keep doing it." And her excuse was that pandemics don't end in 45 days, or however long she had. I think it was 45 days she had, and her power is granted to her, and she continued to push it, and everyone just went along with it. That's how scary government really is. Government only, that order only teeters when people put up with it. If you continue to put up with it, here comes the red. It's scary because government is only as fragile as we allow it to be. And if we continue to put up with the BS, it's going to continue to hinder on our lives, our rights, our principles. It's going to continue hindering. And that I've lived through that in Michigan. I know businesses that will never, ever come back. People have literally died. Like you just said, Christian, people have died from this, not from COVID. I mean, people have died from COVID, but I'm talking about people have died from the shutdowns. People have lost everything from the shutdowns while billionaires got richer. And that's my biggest problem with it. And we have politicians right now who are calling their COVID efforts and their COVID lockdowns a success. That is BS. I was going to say a bad word, but that is not accurate. That is not accurate. And I very much, it's disgusting. It's despicable. It's disgusting. I cannot wait to see who replaces Gretchen Whitmer. I don't know if they will. I'm hoping James Craig comes out of the gates running hard. If I have not mentioned that before, he is the former chief of police in Detroit. Black man was the chief of police, I think, in Cincinnati about 20 years ago as well. He's law officer all his life. He has a couple shaky stances on the Second Amendment. I don't know how I feel about that, but I do think he's much better than Gretchen Whitmer. So I hope he comes out of the gate. I don't think he's even announced yet, but I hope he announces soon and comes out of the gate and knocks her in the teeth.
Man, I hope so too. They need something there. I don't know if y'all just saw, but I believe it was yesterday officially that the DOJ announced they would not be investigating Michigan and New York for the COVID deaths in the seniors' homes, which is absolutely tragic and awful. Like people have said on Twitter, it feels like they just lost their loved ones again. Like their deaths are for nothing and that they're not going to be investigated. They let Gretchen Whitmer and Andrew Cuomo get away with those people's deaths, and they're not going to face anything for it. Whereas you and me, we do anything of the slightest, and we're going to jail for years and years and years, and we're gone. And that's the state of the system now, and that sucks. It absolutely is garbage. I'm sick, man. Those 5,000 plus people died in New York. Over 5,000 people died in New York in those homes because they put COVID positive people into those senior citizen homes. In those senior care living homes. Those people didn't deserve to die. They had no reason to die. And they went off and did it anyways. Pure negligence and ignorance is not excusable. There's no excuse for that. And they let him get away with it. The DOJ is a joke. It's all a joke. The FBI, all of a whole lot. The military is a giant social experiment, arguing with private citizens on Twitter all day long. It's all a joke now. This administration and all the departments, it's all just a crock. And it's the saddest thing to see because it wasn't like this over a year ago. It was nothing like this. It's a total 180. Sick. Absolutely sick. Those people have no say now. They have no voice. They're going to go unheard. They're going to never have any questions answered about why they lost their loved ones. So bad.
Who runs the DOJ? Merrick Garland. And that was the quote-unquote moderate choice for Barack Obama in his last year. I'm telling you, people don't believe me, but I really think some of these folks really sit down and start planning years ahead. I really do. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but they've been thinking about that for years. And yes, Andrew Cuomo is probably one. I can believe it. Don't get me started on Cuomo. Please don't get me started on him.
Yep, jail time. Jail time for them all.
Woo!
They all deserve to go. Man. But so, in other news today in the sports world, 2 NFL coaches have been forced to quit over refusing to get COVID vaccinations. The first one, most notably, was Rick Dennison. He was an O-line coach and the run game coordinator, and apparently he refused the vaccine. And it's a requirement right now in the NFL for Tier 1 staff, including coaches, front office execs, equipment managers, and scouts to receive the vaccine. It's currently not required for players, but the players face stiffer penalties than anybody else this whole season if they are to test positive and cost their team anything. They're going to be fined up the wazoo. It's just – and my biggest question is, where's the Players Association in all this? They're supposed to have their own union, the NFL Players Association. They're supposed to speak on behalf of the players. And DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best receivers in the league, and he has no voice at all. You know, I'm not a union guy whatsoever, but at least in the private sector, in this sense, in the NFL, and they should have a right to negotiate what's going on here and have a right to say what the heck is going to happen to them. You know, these guys bring in millions and millions of dollars a year. And it's literally, it's backing them into a corner saying, okay, you don't have to get vaccinated, but if any of these things happen, you're responsible for it. You're going to get fined a lot of money and lose a lot of like everything that you hold near and dear to you. It's nonsense. It's absolute crap. And people are like, just get shot up. Just get the vaccine. Like, what? This is America, okay? This isn't Mexico. This isn't the Middle East. This isn't Israel. This isn't any other country out there where they run a certain type of way. This is America. There's different things that we run through out here. We have inalienable rights. We have a constitution. We have medical freedom. It's a beautiful thing out here. And the fact that people are just saying, yeah, suck it up and just get the shot, like that's absolutely nonsense. You know, and I love the NFL. I love watching this stuff. And it's just really disheartening to see them go off and take this type of stance towards the players.
You know, Christian, to my understanding, they had to redo the CBA anyway about a year or so ago. They had, I think it was a 10-year CBA, so they had to redo it anyway, and they included a lot of COVID protections or stipulations. So apparently, this was part of the CBA agreement, from my understanding. It was part of the CBA. So the players' union went for this. Obviously, all the players don't believe this, but the players' union went for this, and it and apparently you get fined $15,000, around 15 grand, for COVID violations. I don't know if that is a game or that's just one violation, and shucks, you've been violated once, so we're not going to charge you again. But that's from my understanding what's happening. Also, the second coach, I wanted to mention his name, Cole Popovich, co-offensive line coach for the New England Patriots.
Yes, that's the second one. And same situation. He's a tier one, personnel for the organization, and you don't get it, you're gone.
Right. They're either, and this is what I didn't get. Okay, there are coaches that actually coach from the sideline. At least the head coach has to be down there, right? But a lot of coaches actually coach
in the box,
from the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't the unvaccinated people coach from the box? Seclude them if you want. Go that far if you want, but why can't they do it from the box and then stay 6 feet away while they're in their meeting rooms? Things of that nature. Is it because on the practice squad you got to go on the sideline and actually talk to those folks? What is the point? I don't get what the NFL is doing here.
It's just all about control.
Symptoms. Yeah, they don't even talk about symptoms if somebody's actually sick. It's just a positive test.
They don't care about health. They care about control. If they cared about health, we would have been told to sleep more and to stop doing drugs and to stop eating garbage the last year and a half. Instead, we were told to stay in our house, don't go outside. You were told not to interact with other people. Those are things that actually are very bad for us. We need human interaction. We're social creatures. Like, we actually need to be around other people, and without that, we will die. We can't be we can't be solitary creatures. So it really is. It's this entire message. Anyone who's talking about COVID, we just care about your health. We just want you to be healthy. No, you don't. Shut up. You want control. You just want me to do what you tell me to do, and that's it. And you want me to go along with your narrative, and I'm not about it. I'm not about it. And if you want to get the vaccine, do what you want. I don't care. I'm not going to get it. That's just my own policy, my own preference, and other people I know aren't going to. No matter what, the government is not going to force me to get it, and no group will force me either. If I had to get it to take a plane, I guess I'm driving. If I had to get it to go to other states, guess I'm gonna be in Michigan. Like I'm not gonna budge on this issue because it is about control.
Man,
I'll say this.
We're not that far.
I actually got it because, for one reason, I've had COVID before. I had pneumonia, and both of them almost took me out of here. So with the variant, if I were to catch the variant somehow, some way, I have to think about it. I could actually die this time. But that's me. That was my choice. Nobody forced me into it. I will say Biden is a liar. He lied about the COVID vaccine. Apparently it will not fully protect you from this variant. It's not a high chance that it will protect you from the variant. I feel lied to, but of course, I really didn't believe Biden. I tried to do my own research. Biden is a liar. But for all people that want to take the vaccine, take it if you want. I'm not advocating for nor against it. I'm just saying I felt like that was in the best decision of my health. It would do whatever it's in the best decision of your health and your family. But do not feel like you just have to go out and take that vaccine. I made a decision for my health. You make a decision for yours.
It's absolutely just social pressure. That's the problem. It's all social pressure. There's nothing they don't care about the individual anymore. It's because this group told you to do it. This group told you to do it. Everybody's pressuring you. Hollywood, news media, sports, entertainment. Everybody's pushing this right now. And you could wonder, why would they do such a thing?
Right. I wasn't pressured by any of those. I did my own research and thought about my own health. But that was a good thing. A whole bunch of people are taking this because someone else took it,
Yes,
or
they
the TV told them to take it, or somebody in the media told them to take it. They're being pressured to, like you said, Christian. And that's really bad to try to take
Pressured.
something.
Programmed. The only thing that people could sell me on it right now is if they told me if I took 2 shots of whatever nonsense is in there and that I would grow 6 inches, I might just take the dang thing. All right, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. If I grew 6 inches, take it. I might take 12 of them. I might take 12 of them and figure out what happens. I take my risk. But until that is the case,
Christian, you shouldn't have said that one.
If I could get actual freedom in a free country, then maybe I'll take it. We'll see.
There's some real benefits here. Other than that, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see enough benefits in it, and honestly, I probably would take it if the government didn't tell me to take it. If it was more like just science telling me to take it, government's never pushed it so hard. That's why I don't want to get it, because again, I don't have my tinfoil hat on, but something don't sit right with this vaccine. I don't know what it is.
Hat moment
What I'll say about that before we switch gears. It doesn't matter, and we all are probably in agreement with this. It does not matter who was in charge. Don't trust. We have a general distrust of the government, so therefore, if they're pushing something, we question it at the very least.
Gotta question it, before we switch into final gear here, y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're liking what you're seeing so far, please like, share, and subscribe to this. If you want to become a featured donor, if you're here for Black Friday, please message any one of us or the account. We'll get you set up on that. We'll show you how to do this. We love doing these shows for y'all, but they are not free and they do cost money. So we appreciate any and all support that we do get. Well, thank you so much. But I mean, we had a lot of things we thought we'd get into today, but I think we got into plenty right now, and we have plenty to go for later this week. Come back. We are planning on coming back this Friday evening. We should have kind of a bit of a panel / debate-ish type of ordeal going on.
It's going to be fun.
To it. I think it's going to be really good. It's nothing that we've done before out here. We're going to have some solid disagreements going on. It might get a little heated, and I love it. I'm all here for it. And we can't wait for it. But until then, man, what do we got for final thoughts here, Chris? What do you think?
Honestly, before I start ranting, final thoughts. I think that just with everything's going on right now, whether it's Cuba, COVID, anything, we really have to remember that our rights are there. There's a struggle right now for us to retain these rights and retain our freedoms. And I think too many Americans are complicit right now. Too many Americans. And, we all work in field work. I'm sure we've all talked to a conservative before in the last couple weeks who is like, why should I do anything? Why should I become an activist? I have no reason to. I don't need to, especially in more conservative areas like, maybe Mississippi, Alabama, down there, where they're surrounded by conservatives. And I think honestly it's because that this is a turning point, no pun intended, that honestly things may change. We really need to continue the fight. We need to continue fighting back to win back lost ground that we've already lost. So, my advice for people out there, my final thought is get involved. And I've said this before, run for office, but also get involved with, local organizations that can help you become an activist, help you actually make a difference, because you're not doing anything watching Ben Shapiro roast libtards on YouTube. You're not making any difference. It's funny, but you're not making a difference. That's my final thought.
We're going to talk about owning the libs on Friday, too. We're going to talk about the benefits and what it really does. We're going to talk about all of that on Friday, so you guys have to tune in for that. It's going to be fun. It's just going to be fun. Omar.
All I'm going to say is if you haven't been tuning in, you need to tune in. This world is getting crazier and crazier. America is being ripped apart. Even in my southern states, you know why I'm pushing so hard in my states, because we're on the frontier of losing. Last governor's race, even though I promise you I can't I'm not really a big fan of my governor. We almost got a Democrat in office, a pro-choice Democrat in office last time, because we're not going out there and portraying our message, portraying who we are, and saying why it matters. So we've got to pay attention. We've got to go out there and say why this matters, why that matters, and why it matters that America could be ripped apart very soon in the near future. It's my hope that we survive as a nation. It's my hope that it is my hope that we get along, because there are going to be super liberals out there, and we all have to live in the same nation. But it is my hope that freedom abounds, and it's also my hope that y'all find Jesus Christ. Please, everybody, find Jesus, and that's all I got to say.
Yeah. And that's going to be another topic. I hope you're taking notes for this, Omar, because we got a lot to talk about. But the question is, can we all just coexist in America at this point, based on where we're at with the divide? Can we all just get along? Can't we all just get along? I don't know. I don't know if we can. It's a big question to ask, and based on the polarization of everything, it doesn't really seem possible. But we're going to have to jump into that next, this upcoming Friday, the next episode. So my final thoughts here is that Larry Elder is running for governor of California, y'all. Y'all go ahead and support Larry. Make sure. Honestly, I think my best piece of advice is, if you don't feel comfortable sending money, and I understand why I don't feel comfortable sending money to anybody in politics right now, is calling up the state GOP and telling them to go do what's right. Call up the state GOP in California and let them know that if they don't back this candidate, they're never going to win anything ever again, especially if they don't get election integrity done and they don't secure the votes. And if they don't back Larry Elder and put an actual conservative out there in the GOP to actually run a race that he could potentially win, it's nothing. So that's what I recommend, going ahead and making those phone calls and calling up the right people, putting the pressure on them. They work for you. At the end of the day, you got to remember that. These people work for you. They're here to represent you, the voter. So if you don't make your voices heard, these people won't be doing right. They still might not do right even with your phone calls, but it'll give you more of a reason to get mad at them at the end of the day, and more of a reason to go off and spend your time and efforts elsewhere. But I think it's all worth it at the end of the day here. It's a worthwhile campaign. Getting to talk to Larry for an hour before, just picking his brain about everything. This guy is legit as it comes. He's really about it. He's not in it for the money. He's really out there to do the right thing. In regards to everything else, man, the people of Cuba, we're standing by and watching, praying for you every night. And I hope some sort of way we're able to help and do something. This administration is sitting by and just not saying anything is pretty bad. Joe Biden's kind of empty threats here and there. It's really wishy-washy, but people need a bit more. And the people that are fighting there for Cuba out here in Miami, fight for America too. Don't forget about us over here, because freedom's just not far from going away too. Stick around. And the NFL, it's a no fun league again. It's sadness, but we already knew that. And man, I can't wait for Friday. Again, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. This was Black Friday. These opinions are not for sale. We'll see you soon.